You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I am your host, and today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
Hello, beings of sentience, and any pets or non-sentient life forms in range of this broadcast. It is I, Vurin Afa, here to announce to you that after the great success of last year's event, we will officially be hosting a second annual AFACon on Port Haven. Check your HoloNet listings to determine local dates in relation to Imperial standard calendars, and book your passage now. This year's con will feature a number of the artifacts discovered by the crew of the Queen of Air and Darkness. We will also have a number of panels and events hosted by yours truly, Vurin Afa. Other highlights will include a lecture from our esteemed Professor Modi.
Hello. My name is Modi. I am the show's scholarly consult / occasional co-host. I have quite the fascinating lecture prepared for you on mythosaurs, fact or fiction. I suppose I should have called it fact or myth.
And we even have a film workshop from Lorenzo.
I am Lorenzo. I am the cinematographer and director and visionary behind the Vurin-Afa adventures. I am usually behind the camera, thinking about all of the things that go into Vurin-Afa adventures. But here at VurinCon, wait, they called it AFACon? No showmanship. This is why I am the one with the vision.
And unlike last year, they will not have access to any pyrotechnics or contraband surveillance devices. Don't forget, get your tickets now, and I'll see you at AFACon. Onward!
Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Adam and I am your host and the GM for episode 2 of what we're delightfully titling A Fistful of Credits, known more colloquially as Adam's Intermission Frivolity. I am joined around the table by a bevy of beautiful people, and I'm going to demand that they introduce themselves in the order of which I choose, because I'm mad with power. And if you can't go mad with power on the game that you're running in the podcast that you run, when can you do it? So, introduce yourselves to our listeners, my loves, and we're going to start with Leslie. Yeah.
I'm Leslie. Can we just leave it at that?
I imagine you're going to cut out Adam's bit. No, you're just going to...
We're just going to go with that. Okay, next up, I think we're going to go with Mikey.
If you didn't already know from Adam saying, can you introduce yourself, Mikey? Mikey, hi.
we also have Ben.
Hi there, I'm Ben, I think. Maybe. I can breathe.
and finally, we have Mim.
Hi, I'm Mim.
They are.
Oh, dear.
Do you know, this is only episode 2. The brandy fevers have kicked in. It's all good. Where we last... I'm just going to go with it. I'm good. I'm happy. I'm happy with where we are. Professional podcast. Where we last left our heroes. They were on the mudball planet of Elmeron 4, attempting to find and locate an Imperial bioweapon for the unconventional businessman, a Chevin by the name of Reskin Wexler, to whom they owed a debt. 2 of our heroes had infiltrated the Imperial-controlled Port Authority under cover of actually legitimate business and not particularly infiltrating at all, while in the course of a distraction, the desk clerk, a hapless fellow named Jenkins, has passed out due to over-ingestion of dried frog pills, and his position has been taken by the canny shapeshifter played by young Mimothy. The Stormtrooper guards and the Imperial Scout Walker, who act as point security for the Port Authority, have been distracted by a sight of which legends will be told of briefly in the pub later on. Across the mud-soaked plaza, in the drizzling rain, light gleaming off them from the various neon adverts, we see a Frankenstein's droid comprised of many, many different droids welded together, knee-deep in mud, dragging themselves further and further with every step, a gleaming hilt of a mighty weapon sheathed across their shoulder. Next to them, a harch with a most marvellous hat who is somehow managing to remain unscathed from the mud that otherwise clings everywhere, their spurs gleaming and chiming like legends of old, or indeed from the pub this evening.
And you see, that's the entire reason why Blast Ball is so much better than Hut Ball.
Agreed.
So much less running around. Yes.
The Scout Walker has risen from its roosting position to stand as tall as a Scout Walker can, its guns trained upon this peculiar sight. The head of the Scout Walker tilted quizzically once again, this time to the left, before it was to the right. Is there a significance to the angle it tilts? I know, you may find out. Who can say? The two stormtrooper guards who are minding the door to the Port Authority are staring somewhat dumbfoundedly at the sight, their blaster rifles held in their hands, and their heads also tilted in confusion, albeit in a different direction to that of the Scout Walker. Is there significance to this? I know, you may find out.
Can Scout Walkers have inner ear problems?
Oh dear.
I imagine it's about to.
So true.
Tyburn continues to walk at the same pace, unfazed by the mighty Scout Walker drawing its guns on him. He is giving it, I don't know if you can do this, but he's giving it the eyeball, the hairy eyeball. He's not intimidated by the giant mechanical creature in front of him. He keeps walking. I think I can take it, he comments to himself.
To like a sabbac table? And Thanos will pat at their pockets in their long coat and pull out a flimsoplast version of a sabbac deck. Wait, we could play these guys. Do you want it intact? I'm pretty sure we could win it. Hey! And waves up with two pairs of arms. Want to play some sabbac?
We should go with your plan first, because if I kill them all, they won't be able to play sabbac.
But if we get them closer, it's easier for you to kill them.
This is true. I have no reason to kill them yet, but I'm looking for one.
The Scout Trooper remains in position. The two Stormtroopers look at each other. Again, there's an awful lot of non-verbal communication going on from people whose faces you cannot see beneath their imposing, anonymising helmets. But they share a look a moment, then they look back across and shout out through the radio mics built into their microphone. Did you say, do we want to play sabbac?
Yeah? I mean, that's what it's called, right? Sabbac, yes. I've got a deck right here.
Like now?
There's a better time? And, like, the one thing with the Hark that I truly love, beyond the extraneous amounts of arms they've got, is on a Spider you've got these mandibles. On a Hark it just looks like the bushiest handlebar mustache possible. Like something that would make Wilford Brimley proud. Even in this, it's still just only mildly drenched as it's moving as he's talking. Come on. We could use one of the feet of this walker-y thing here, and we could use it as a table. It would be perfect. I mean, you're not doing anything. We're not doing anything. Why not?
We're guarding. We're on duty.
From what? What's coming through here?
Like couriers. There's a massive rabbit person in there. There's that droid plunging through the mud. It looks like it... No! I mean, maybe later. We can meet at the pub later on. Should we meet at the canteen later on? We could play a round of sabbac. At which point the stormtrooper next to them kind of gives them a look and just leans over and just slaps them on the back of the helmet. No fraternising with the locals. I want to play sabbac. There's a reason you are stationed on this mud ball of a planet, and there's a reason why I'm stationed on this mud ball of a planet too, and it's to stop you getting me into debt with your gambling games. Look, ignore them. Ignore him. He don't know what he's talking about. Thank you very much for your kind offer, giant intimidating spider.
You sure we could, like, play for the walker-y thing?
We can't play for the Scout Walker. That's Imperial war gear. we can't put Imperial war gear down on the table. Yes. Yeah, we can. Shut up! This is why we're on a mudball planet. You lost 4 speeder bikes. Only because they were cheating. I'll cheat you in a minute. Now shush.
As this is happening, Tyburn is continuously, slowly getting closer and closer, not changing his pace. He's essentially the bad guy in any terrible horror movie, just slowly getting closer and closer.
The speakers built into the Scout Walker suddenly crackle to life, and broadcasting at a volume quite deafening, really, for how close you are. A voice goes, "You're not betting this Scout Walker in a game of Sabak." The two stormtroopers look up at the Scout Walker, then look back at you, and then they shrug. They're like, "Yeah, sorry. Could you, no offence." And they make a shooing gesture with the hand. "Could you bugger off?" I
stop stepping forwards. The smaller of the two arms points up as if to attract attention.
One moment, please.
I then clip on my comms and go to either of the two Lepi inside.
Hello, it is Tyburn. Do you have the location we require?
Smash cut 2 inside the Port Authority reception, where we see Obertam, a tall, willowy, somewhat bemused-looking Lepi, leaning over the counter, looking down. Kandu, a previously tall, bemused-looking Lepi, is now a much smaller, scrawnier human in incredibly ill-fitting uniform. There is a almost identical, scrawny-looking human in an ill-fitting uniform who appears to be snoring and whimpering quietly to themselves underneath the desk.
Do we have this information that we require?
I think I'm going to want a roll of some form from you, just to have managed to find it, just because of the pressure that you're under.
I think I can get it, just give me a minute.
I'd allow a computers test, I would allow an education test to understand the Imperial bureaucracy and filing system. I would allow a streetwise test, because, you know where people come to sign these sort of things. You've done that before.
I was going to pull for perception, but I can do streetwise.
Perception works. I'll allow perception.
I've got 2 ranks in computers, so can I give them a boost dice? I also have a talent called bypass security, which is passive.
If you want a computer, I will do the office kind of eyeballing what's in the building itself, like filing cabinets, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah, that makes sense. We'll split it. We'll do a roll each then. So, what is it you're actually actively looking for then? Just so I know how to frame the difficulty.
Remittance forms and delivery, bills of lading, that kind of thing.
For shipments coming in. Okie dokie.
I'm looking for the same thing, but also anything about... anything that is more vague, like in case there is an important item that no one is mentioning what it is, because that's bound to be important.
Like, I'm looking above board, Kandu is looking below board, basically, kind of hitting both sides of the same question.
So we'll start with you, Leslie, I think. I think it's going to be an average difficulty. I'm going to put a setback die on there, however, simply because it is clear that Jenkins is not the tidiest filer for the flimsy plast filing system. Wobble your head at me. It's only one setback.
I'm actually impressed that you didn't just say because I could.
I know.
I was expecting because I'm the GM and you're in a mess.
My malevolence is rarely whimsical. It's always purposeful. I mean, it's frequently whimsical, in fairness.
Are you telling me you're not a despot?
Yeah. Benevolent dictatorship, you know?
Rude gestures at my dice. So I failed and got a threat.
Can't even blame D1.
I blame my dice, which, as most people should know, this roll makes sense for who I am. The only way it would have made more sense is if I had a blue that was blank.
I feel your pain.
Yeah.
So I figure I'm literally leaning over the counter, like, elbows on the counter, butt in the air, kind of pointing and like trying to go through the files upside down.
Only one threat, though.
Yes, only one threat.
I will get to your threat in a moment. Mim, computers. Now, there is security on these computer systems here, so your difficulty is going to be 3. It's a hard test, and there is a setback dice on there as well for the Imperial additional firewall countermeasures, because you need to hack a password, but I think with bypass security you get to remove that anyway, but it's on there.
Yep, I get to remove 1 setback dice. Woohoo!
What?
Mm-hmm.
So that is 1 success.
Yay!
And 3 threat.
Oh.
Gee whiz, we're successful together.
Okay, so what you managed to get, Mim, is this. There is a sub-basement level to the Port Authority, and it's where, and I'm hopeful that our listeners can hear the air quotes that I'm throwing up here, confiscated and contraband merchandise is kept. Effectively, If you come into port and can't pay your shipping dues, they steal your cargo and keep it here until they can sell it at the Shark Market or one of the other various black and grey markets on here. It looks like the Empire have commandeered part of this cargo space underneath the building and have turned some of it into what are down as restricted labs.
Ooh.
But it's not telling you exactly. You can see that there's been goods shipped in there to what is now being euphemistically called restricted labs. And indeed, one of the crates that has been shipped in there does bear the designation FBL-13. Your threats are these. 2 of those threats, Mim, go to flag up the fact that you have accessed this computer terminal, and it is likely that this is going to have fairly short-term ramifications when that is pings up at the security control checkpoint on the floor above. Your remaining threat, and Leslie's threat, is this. As Oba is leaning over the counter rifling through the files, she overbalances, falls directly onto you, and the 2 of you go crashing into the filing cabinets, at which point the 2 stormtroopers on security are distracted from the distraction and spin round to see an empty desk. Yes.
I would like to potentially, if Mim is on board for this, flip a light side point. If Mim thinks that we can get you back into Leppy form, I want you to be me again, so that we can have a panic attack over the fact that the gentleman behind the counter went crazy and fell asleep.
Oh, I was just going to pretend that I was getting it on with 2 hot bunny girls.
I mean, I'll go with the deception, however you want to frame that, and how believable it is and how comfortable everybody is with what that looks like, I think probably depends on whether it will roll too many threats. So what you're aiming for ultimately, though, is that there is a degree of concern over poor old Jenkins who's passed out, and if they can see over the counter to where you both are, it is because you're worried about poor old Jenkins as opposed to doing nefarious things behind the counter.
Oh, clearly. So I'm gonna flip over the counter, and it's gonna be the full, like, I try to catch myself, but my elbows hook, and I flip, and there's that thud of me hitting my head on the underside of the counter before I collapse on top of Can Do. And I'm like, be me! Like, urgently, like, pointing at, like, be my face.
So Can Do, in the voice of the Imperial, goes, "Oh, I've lost my dried pills. Oh, can you help me find them? Oh, I've scattered them everywhere. Oh, woe is me. Oh, I don't feel well at all. Oh, I'm going. Oh, I see a bright light." As I roll to try and change back into an eye-patched Legomorph. Sorry, not Legomorph, but bunny person.
Yeah, okay. I am going to want a resilience test for this, Mim, to see whether or not you can shift quickly enough. And then I want a group deception test from the pair of you. I will tell you the difficulty of the deception test shortly. Let's get one roll out of the way before the next.
So, average... Oh, wait. Oh, no. Sorry, that was me looking at the first dice. The first dice, then the second dice, then the third dice, and then the fourth, and it did not do well. That's 2 fail. Well, I don't know. Add on. I've rolled a triumph, but then I've also rolled 3 failures and a threat.
My kind of roller.
Wait, okay, so I've got 1 advantage because I've got 2 advantage as well. But that, if the success of the triumph is cancelled out, then that's 2 failures, a triumph with no success, and 1 advantage.
Good look at him.
I look weird.
I have a vote, and that is you look like me, but you're still wearing his clothes.
Or you look like Jenkins with ears.
Jenkins with ears. I like Jenkins with ears. And an eye patch now, because I remembered to put that on.
Yeah.
I don't know. That the failure is up to the GM how we want to approach that, and then...
Yeah, if you'd gotten threats, then I would definitely have you caught in some, like, horrific, unsettling hybrid form. But you've just failed to shapeshift back into Oba. So... if you want, you can use the triumph to shapeshift into somebody else, completely unrelated, but not visibly a thingamabob. Maybe into then again, you need to have seen a generic. Or indeed, yeah, into...
thingamabob. This is about the tail, isn't it? Honestly, you too.
Okay, the triumph means I didn't succeed, but I've got a triumph. So can I not have changed at all? I put on an eye patch and I've changed my voice because I thought that was sensible, but it takes me a moment to realise I'm still a human.
Yeah, you're still Jenkins. Okay, yep. Yeah, we can go with that. In fact, you've got advantage. I'm happy to let you use your advantage for that, because triumphs are still quite big and special. It could maybe be, okay, so how about this as an idea? In the process of the frantic changing and then trying to make it look like Jenkins hasn't collapsed, you take his keycard.
I'll go with that. That's very sensible.
He's got a security keycard to get him around places. So, as part of trying to make your verisimilitudinous uniform, you steal like his keycard and his wallet and his data pad and all the little bits that would help you pass off as Jenkins from when you were passing off as Jenkins. And I don't know if you want to use those advantage then to have not attracted the Imperial attention quite so much, or...
Yeah, one advantage so that I don't look horrifically suspicious. Maybe I didn't put the eye patch on.
It fell off.
So, yes, the stormtroopers kind of look back, can't see anything beneath the desk at all, because now all three of you are on the other side of it. And at the moment, I imagine that with that spend, as you were about to kind of pop your head up, Oba kind of went down. So the stormtroopers are currently aware that there's an empty desk, but by the same token, their attention is so distracted by what's going on outside, they have not yet left their post to come and find out exactly what's going on. You are aware from your vantage point behind the counter, however, that the security alarm has been tripped from your earlier threats on the hacking roll. We smash cut back to...
Oh, look, there's a flashing light inside.
So Tyburn's still got his finger up.
Do you have it?
And he's just standing there waiting.
There is this crushingly awkward atmosphere as everyone's just kind of now watching you standing there, Tyburn, with your finger in the air. And everyone, from the Scout Walker pilots to the two stormtroopers to presumably Thanos, are all just looking at you like...
Can do. Do you have it?
My name's Jenkins. Yes. I can definitely help you. Hello, I'm Jenkins. Wink, wink. Jenkins, hello.
This is a private comm. You do not need to convince me. It comes up with your name on the comm.
Then there's like fifth hand going up to Dennis's face. It's like,
it was one hand, and now it's both.
Is the reason you're playing a Harch that you can facepalm 6 times at once? Because if so, I commend your foresight.
Yep.
So, is it here? Can do.
We have the information we need.
Then we have an obstacle. Interesting.
Adam, I'd like to hit the Scout Trooper with my sword.
Okay. I think I'm going to want initiatives, but I am going to give you effectively a surprise round, a free manoeuvre and then an attack, because everyone is so... They're all just waiting to see what you're going to do, and none of them quite believe that what you're going to do is suddenly charge forward and hit a Scout Walker with a sword. So I'm going to give you that one for free. But let's get initiatives out of the way first of all. I'm also going to include Mim and Leslie in the initiatives, because even though they're inside behind a counter...
They're going to want to do something.
Yeah, and once that initial kind of ring of Vibro Sword on Scout Walker goes off, I imagine they'll be tipped off that something, possibly not according to plan, is happening just outside the doorway.
Oh no, this is entirely according to plan. We need to get inside, so I need to distract them.
Exactly, like, this is the most obvious thing. Is this cool or vigilance?
I think for everyone except Mikey, it's going to be vigilance. Because I imagine that even though you were expecting some trouble, Thanos, you were not necessarily expecting the droid to suddenly just charge and hit a Scout Walker with a sword. So, yeah, I think it's going to be vigilance from everyone except Mikey.
Okay, fair.
Okay, so I get 3 successes and 2 advantage.
I get 1 success and 3 advantage.
I get 1 advantage. I am not very vigilant.
Well, you're too busy being Jenkins.
I got 1 success and 3 advantage, Ben. Guess we're hanging out in North America.
Even though they don't have any ranks in this, I roll pretty well, I'm afraid. So the initiative order is going to be, after Mikey's freebie, initiative will start properly, which will be a player, 2 NPCs, and then the rest of the players.
Okay, shall I do my thing.
Let's start the festivities off.
So, I'm going to spend a strain to use extended reach so I can attack something at close range with my sword rather than at engaged. So essentially, I'm going to leap at the cockpit and then I am going to give them a bit of a hit. So we'll see. Could I use one of the Destiny pool, please? Because this has to be a good one.
Totally makes sense to me.
I am support.
Right, so I'm currently on 3 yellow. Adam, what difficulty is it for attacking a vehicle? Is it just a normal hit?
If you're attacking the vehicle, wouldn't you get the silhouette difference?
Yeah, which would make it a little bit easier.
There's still 3, so they'll drop it to an easy?
Yeah, I think that's right, you know. Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
Are you aiming?
Yeah, I am going to in a second. I'm just curious as to whether he's spending a Destiny pool point.
Do you know, I'm not for this attack. I think they're so taken by surprise.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a single purple.
Okay, so that's 1 success and 5 advantage.
Yes!
And this is where it gets fun, because I'm going to use all of those advantage on a crit. So can you roll a crit against it plus 40? Oh, and I also have Vicious 2.
So it's a crit plus 60 against a vehicle.
Yeah.
That works out at 127, which is major hull breach. A huge gaping tear is torn in the ship's hull. It depressurizes. This mostly applies to space combat as you vent the atmosphere.
But now the moisture's getting in.
Yeah, I think you just cut the top of the Scout Walker off. The people inside are unharmed, but they're looking somewhat bemused as this sword has cleaved off the top of the Scout Walker somehow. The drizzle is now pouring in, causing the equipment panel to spark. And they're just like,
Destabilized, Adam, because that's what happens if you're in atmosphere. Hull trauma threshold and system strain threshold is half their original values.
Ooh.
Haha.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, wow.
It's now going to shoot me.
No, because that was the surprise round.
Yeah. So we're now on proper initiative, and it's a player slot.
Do you want to go, or shall I take care of the stormtroopers?
I mean, I could probably take it out, but let's give it a go. Let's because I imagine they're going to be less likely to shoot anything. Am I on the Scout Walker now, or am I underneath it? Or
well, you attacked from short range rather than from engaged.
Yes.
So I think you've kind of leaped up, cut it off, and then kind of kicked back to still being at short range.
Can I spend strain to move into engage with it?
Yes, you can. Yes.
Okay. I want to be threatening. I want them not to try and shoot my friend, and more try and panic that I'm coming for them.
I mean, I'd be panicked. How about you?
That is, Ben, if you want to go.
I kind of want to try and take out the stormtroopers here because, well, they seem to be somewhat armed.
Only half as armed as you.
Yeah.
I mean, between the two of them, sure. So I do have quick draw, so guns come out almost immediately. I'm going to aim at them because, well, that would be silly not to.
Yep, they have no defense.
Pretty sure I'd be at short range to them.
Yes, you are, yeah. That's how close you managed to get before everything went a bit... Because they let you approach, because you were talking about Sabak, and
exactly.
They were just too bemused by the whole situation, really. You get the impression that the stormtroopers, and indeed the Imperials that have been assigned here, are probably not the pick of the bunch.
All right.
Really?
So you're not using a dark side point. Gotcha.
Do you know, I think I will. I am going to flip a dark side point because they are so close to you.
All right.
So I'm going to flip a dark side point, so that's a single red.
All right.
You're too nice, Ben.
Well, how else are we going to get light side points?
Fair. And I'm always up for prompting for using them because I always forget.
Huh. So as I remember how to use actual dice...
I mean, you can use D1 if you want. I don't mind. It's just I like not being able to blame a computer for my terrible or otherwise dice rolling.
That's 3 success and 1 advantage. So that means that my heavy blaster pistol is doing a grand total of 11 damage on account of I have point blank, and I have 1 advantage, so I can't really do a whole heck of a lot, but I do kind of like the idea of one of the troopers getting essentially shot in the back, because they're turning to see what's inside, then all of a sudden this stuff's outside. They've got no idea what's going on, so one of them just gets shot. Maybe, like, they're half turned and shoots a bucket right off their head, possibly with the rest of the head inside. And the other one is just absolutely gobsmacked.
Yeah, that seems fair. Slightly peppered by erstwhile bolts, and the one that's left is the one who was kind of up for a sabbat game at first. Yeah. And they're now kind of wildly spinning their head between what's going on inside, what's going on outside, the horrific rending noise of Tyburn slicing the top off the Scout Walker.
Exactly.
And it is the NPC's turn next. So the Scout Walker is going to go first.
Okay.
I can say, Mikey, that you have indeed achieved your aim of presenting as the most threatening target.
Adam?
Yes.
I'm going to spend 2 strain as an incidental to up the difficulty of whatever you're doing by 2.
Okay.
And now I'm going to hope.
Are you dodging, perhaps?
I am dodging. That is entirely what I am doing.
Perfect.
Also, is it range or melee?
It is gunnery.
So is it a range?
Yes.
Because I've got defense.
Okay.
I've got a defense of 1.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and then the size difficulty would flip.
So does that increase their difficulty by an extra purple as well?
Yes.
Okay, so the difficulty is 3 extra and 1 black.
Yes, indeed it is. So let's see how this does. That's an awful lot of purple dice in this dice pool. Not enough. That's a triumph.
Cool.
What I'm left with is 1 success and a triumph.
Bring it.
Yeah.
What are you shooting me with, by the way?
With the port-mounted light blaster cannon.
Gotcha.
So that is 50 wounds.
Yep.
Means technically only 1 crit.
Yep.
Yeah. And what I'm going to do with the triumph is I'm not going to double crit. I'm going to use that triumph to blow you 2 range bands back.
Okie doke.
As this volley of high caliber vehicle grade blaster cannons explodes into the mud around you, and the impact of that just blows you flying backwards. There's no vicious or anything on vehicle weapons, is there?
Generally not.
No.
No, it's just, I mean, it's 50 damage, so they're doing very well anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is an 83. You are winded.
The droid is winded.
Metaphorically.
Yeah, you cannot suffer strain to activate voluntarily to activate any abilities or gain additional maneuvers, as you've been blasted all the way back across this clearing and are currently in the mud.
Gotcha.
I was about to say, can I flip a light side point, if this is okay with Mikey, that the way we positioned, like everything fell out, that Tyburn has actually been blown into the building?
Yeah.
On the 2nd floor somehow, like he hit the ground and then bounced up, so that the offices that were alerted by our shenanigans suddenly have a new focus.
Oh yeah, sent him into a heavily armed room.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah, go for that.
No, they're not armed. They're in an office. Come on. If it's okay with Mikey.
I was perfectly happy with that. That sounds fun.
Yeah, I mean, you're unconscious, I imagine, from exceeding your wound threshold, but you are in the security office. Yeah, I'll allow that. I think that's cool. Yeah, it's just boom, and splats you in. The remaining stormtrooper spins round, sees the volley of fire that has just taken out his compadre, lowers his blaster rifle at Thanos, and fires away.
I do not have any defense, so yeah.
And you're at short range. They're not aiming though, because what they're doing for their maneuver, as you'll see, because they're kind of doing it, they're doing it in roughly the same motion, because they might be the dregs of the Imperial recruits, but they still have some fire discipline. And as they're firing, they're moving back into the building itself, and you can hear kind of over their comms, because they're not being subtle.
We're under attack! There's a mad spider, icky thingamabob, and a maniac droid! Help!
Oh, a single success after all that, which is 10 damage before soak.
Which makes me very glad I have soak. On account of that will be 8 getting through.
As they pepper in and hit the button to start the door very, very slowly closing.
Yeah, I kind of want to yell out, Special delivery to the walker, please.
Next PC slot.
It's going to be you guys. I'm unconscious.
If it's any consolation, this stormtrooper is completely oblivious to you two being in there. Their attention is entirely focused on the crazed, Harch gunslinger that is currently shooting holes in them.
Crazed, yeah.
Well, okay. The worryingly controlled Harch gunslinger.
Do you have a weapon?
Me? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got a weapon. I've got a blaster pistol. Did Jenkins have any weapons on him as well?
No, they didn't trust Jenkins with weapons.
Ha!
Probably smart.
Oh, just my pistol. Oh, but they don't know that I'm on your side, so I could maybe go out and bonk them on the head. I don't know, something.
Historically, how difficult is it to knock out a stormtrooper?
Well, he's already taken some of Ben's errant blaster bolts, so he's not in the best condition. And he's completely oblivious to where he has written you and Candu off as threats.
So there really should be a boost or something to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you a boost.
Oh, if I go outside, I hope I don't get shot by Thanos.
You can shoot him from there. He's at the door.
Yeah, he's at the door. He's at short range.
Poke your head over and shoot him.
I'm actually wondering, Ben, do you mind? Did you want to come in the building with us? Because I could stop the door from closing.
I'm okay outside.
You'll want to go in the building before this scout walk has another go.
Yeah, that's true.
The special delivery thing was stormtroopers generally have one frag grenade. If a certain Leppy were to use maneuver to grab a frag grenade and bound up to drop a frag grenade in with the minions working the scout walker.
Oh!
Well, there's a hole in it now, so they don't have the defense.
Yeah.
And as part of your maneuver to kind of run out of the building, I'll let you, as an incidental, just grab the grenade off the belt of the dead stormtrooper.
That sounds like a plan.
Because they're designed for quick release, and he's not going to be able to stop you because he's got holes through him.
Aubrey will kind of look at Candace like, I don't typically get engaged in these situations. I run in and I run out. That's what I do. I run a lot, and I know what I can do. So Aubrey is going to lever over the counter, grab the fallen stormtrooper's grenade, and just kind of tuck herself down for a minute, and then launch into the air, using her magical, totally not Cuzo Leppy power to land atop the walker and deliver a special gift. And it's just going to be, hi, click, drop, bye, gone.
Yep, awesome. So it's going to be a ranged light, effective to drop it in the right place. I will give you a boost because rule are cool. The difficulty is going to be, well, it's 1 purple because you're at short range. You're basically just dropping it. Normally it'd be a bit more, I think, for being engaged with a pistol, but you're not actually throwing it at them. You're just dropping it at their feet and then bouncing off again. So, yeah, a single purple. I'm going to add a setback.
And I'm dropping it into an enclosed space.
Well, it's half enclosed, and that's why I'm adding the setback, because the top the roof has been carved off, but it doesn't make for particularly good footing, especially now it's slick with the constant drizzle.
Okay, my point was just that, the grenade's not going anywhere, ideally.
Yeah, there's going to be a degree of chunky salsa effect.
Yucky. So do we want the good news or the bad news first? The bad news is my boost! Who's surprised? It's blank. The good news is that was a success and an advantage.
Nice.
So, hi, bye, drop and go.
Would you like your advantage to be that you land sufficiently out of both the blast and the, shall we say, volcano radius?
I would like to be out of the splash zone, yes, please. And I will take the strain for all of the fidgeting that I just did.
So yes, you leap up, you drop the grenade in, you bound away, and then behind you there is a wet kind of crump sound, and the rain briefly intensifies, shall we say. That minion group are no longer a concern as the smoke is rising from the top of the scout walker. The remaining stormtrooper looks through the plexiglass, kind of as you've run past them and jumped up and out, and you're kind of now in front of them outside, looks at you, looks at the Harch, and then you can see in their body language that they're having a sudden threat reassessment, and then you can also see in their body language as they realise that there were 2 Leppy inside. Speaking of, Mim.
Can I offer him some dried frog pills?
So, I feel I should just wander casually up to the stormtrooper as Jenkins and then shoot him.
Oh, I love that.
Okay. It's 2 purple for shooting a pistol at point blank range. I am going to give you a boost because they are just... I mean, they kind of had that sudden realisation, but I imagine they had that sudden realisation that there was 2 Leppy in there right at the point that you sucker punch him with a blaster... Well, that you sucker shoot him with a blaster pistol.
So, 2 purple and a boost.
Yeah.
1 success and 2 advantage.
Okay. Well, they have already been quite badly damaged. Well, it's quite wounded. What's the damage of your weapon?
Damage 6.
I don't think it really matters at this stage. Damage 6.
Oh, I do have a stun setting. I could have done that rather than killing the poor bloke.
You could stun him instead if you want. It's all gravy.
I'm going to walk up to the guy, smile, and shoot him on a stun setting because I feel kind of sorry for the poor bugger.
He drops. He just collapses to the ground unconscious. I have a suggestion for the 2 advantage, if you'd like to hear it. The security shutters that are coming down over all the doors and windows of the Port Authority are coming down slow enough that allow Leslie and Ben to slide underneath them in dramatic fashion, Indiana Jones style, just before they close.
That does seem to be the selfless way to spend that advantage rather than trying to get some strain back, so yeah.
Hat and all.
Yeah. If you see one of Thanos' many hands reach out and grab their hat just before the gate finally slams down.
Exactly, yes.
And I think as Thanos, Kandu, and Oba are in the reception room with the unconscious body of the Stormtrooper and the unconscious for entirely different reasons body of Jenkins, as the smouldering, sparking and unconscious form of Tyburn has landed with a great punch through the plexiglass windows and into the control room above, from which you can hear a degree of panicked shouting, as the security shutters slam down over the doors and windows, and a siren begins to sound. That's where I'm going to call it for this episode. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We hope you had a great time. We hope you had as much fun listening as we did recording it, certainly. And before we leave you, this episode's patron is Zach. Thank you very, very much for your support, Zach. We're glad you're enjoying the show. We hope you're enjoying this little intermission arc. We hope you liked the last season, and we hope you're going to like the next one. Thank you again. Stay safe. Look after yourself and each other. And we will see you, and indeed all of you, next time. Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Fantasy Flight Games and Lucas Books. Our intro music for this season is Unholy Night by Kevin MacLeod, and our outro music remains Suburban Outlaw by Forget the Whale, both used with gratitude under the Creative Commons license. If you like the show and want to interact with us, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, all of which are at Force Majeure Pod, though Twitter is probably where you're going to find us more regularly. If you enjoy what we do and want to support the show, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is via our Patreon at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod. The second is by buying us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod. And the third way is by rating and reviewing us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere where you can find us. We really like reviews. It tells us that we're telling the stories that you want to hear and helps other people find us. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.